Alright, so welcome back to Lightroom, and today we're going to go over some of the stuff that we haven't done, which is the cloning stamp, red eye reduction, and these two gradient filter type things. So the first thing we'll do is, since we're here, might as well start on this kind of a gradient filter. So this is just a linear gradient in which you're going to just click and drag down. We'll make that even with the horizon line. And now anything that I do, this is kind of like an adjustment brush. Anything that I do to it, it is going to gradate. So it's going to be 100%, and then it's going to feather down once I get in there. You can grab in here and kind of twist this around and get it in any direction. We can also like close this and open it depending on how we want things to get, so it's a little bit easier to control out here. I'm going to go to the center button and just drag this down some more. So you can see here, if I want to slowly darken my sky, normally the sky is going to darken or look the best, and you're also adding depth to it as well from the top down to the bottom. And so depending on where you put these little bars here, it's going to gradate down for that image. And you have the ability to adjust your shadows, your highlights. So if you wanted to bring your highlights way down, you could do that as well. If you wanted to make it very contrasty and give it a punch, you could use that clarity. So anything that you want to do. So that is the gradient here. Alright, so once again, I'm just going to click on this and click on this again, and we will get rid of those. So we'll switch over to a different image. So we'll do it again. So I'm gonna, I kind of want it to start up around here on this image. So we're going to click on this to get it selected. We're going to drag down to there. And in this case, it's kind of contrasty up here. So I'm going to decrease the contrast and brighten it, so it's not as bad. And we'll open up those shadows. So you can see any way that you do this, you have the ability to have this adjustability linearly, so which works great for horizon lines, that it does more up here and less up here. So you could easily move this down so it starts down here, so you get more of this area, and then this is your transition area to where it fades off. Alright, so we will click that off. The next one we have here is this radial. So it's just like you think. You just kind of draw a circle out, and this can really kind of be used for vignettes and things like that. You basically are going to have the same adjustments that you have. It's just working as a filter, and it is adjusting the areas outside of this area here in this circumstance. So that is how you work this sort of radial adjustment. These two I don't ever really use within Lightroom. If you use Lightroom, you might end up using them. The reason I don't is because I do all this main adjustment outside in Photoshop, just because it's more accurate and works a lot better than Lightroom does. Lightroom is kind of a basic editor. It does general stuff pretty good, but it doesn't really get exact refined action, and you have more control when using layers in Photoshop. So the last one would be red eye. We'll zoom in here. I don't even have a photo with red eye, but basically what you would do if you had red eye, you would come in here and you would click, and that would get rid of the red eye, and then you would click and get rid of the red eye. So you can come in here and change the pupil size and the darken amount within it. It looks like it has a pet eye. One is 2. It would probably give you a larger pupil, but that's how you basically use the red eye tool. If you're taking photos correctly, you are never going to get red eye, so you won't really ever have to worry about that at all. Alright, let's zoom out of here. And so the next thing that we're going to go over here is the rest of these, and I'm just going to quickly explain what they do. If you use them, you can use them. But basically, map is like a geolocation device. If you wanted to say, hey, I took this photo in southern Africa, you could click on here and set this up so it recognizes that this was taken in southern Africa. Or if you were looking for, like a global traveler, you were looking for some images that you took, you know, in Brazil or in Argentina, it would show you and then bring those images up. I'm never going to use that, but that's what this is for. Book is pretty self-explanatory. It will come up here in a second. It is basically to create your own book. So it's recognizing the photos that I have, and it is automatically laying them out for me right now in this book. So over here, the company for this book is Blurb, is where it's going to, or you can just output as a PDF or as a JPEG. I don't use these companies. I use a different book company, and they have their own proprietary program, as most higher end book places do. So, but if you want to create one on Blurb, feel free. It's right there. So size, there's all kinds of different sizes of books that you can pick. Because it's on Blurb, it will give you the type of papers that it has, paper type, logo on page if you want that. So there's an auto layout, or you can manually drag and drop images. So if we want this guy up here, we can easily drag and put that guy up there. There's different ways. So padding is creating space around your image if you want that. All right. If you want to add some photo text, you can see the text right over here is moving up and down. So I can kind of control that. There's also the ability to pick your own font. So if you select this, you can pick whatever font and what size, type, and what opacity it is. So here's justified left, center. And that information, if you want a background, you can drop an image in here as your background, or you can simply just click on here and pick any color that you would want to use for your background. So, I mean, that's pretty self-explanatory is how it works. It looks like they even have the pricing here on how much they cost. All right, so the next thing here is Slideshow. Personally, I actually did a video for a class on how to do this in iMovie, just because you have more control. So if you're using a Mac and you have iMovie, I think Slideshow is easier to do in iMovie or Final Cut Pro or any video editing program. I mean, it allows you to just do more intelligent work and lay things out better and switch audio and have transitions. It makes a little bit more sense. But it's easy to fill in here. Zoom to fill frame is going to actually zoom and fill the frame. So we have our image. It allows you to adjust stuff in here. So this is a cast shadow that it's putting on the outside. Aspect preview is the screen. So this identify plate, I would not want that. That's my name that you're seeing up there. So when I click this up and down, it's showing who did it. All this information, you can put text over your image. You can do shadows, your backdrop, all this information. So you can put titles on the screen, and you can also control how long each picture stays up and how long the fade is. If you want to pan and zoom, you can do that as well. So it will make the image move as it plays. So if we hit this, we'll see here just a quick transition of how this is working. All right. So there's different ways, quality, standard, high, definite quality, and then you can save that, and you can put audio in this image as well. I personally am not a huge fan of it. It's just in here, and it allows you to do it. So if you want to create your own slideshow and then kind of output it basically as a movie or a video format, you can do that. So print, I'm not actually going to print, but this is where you would come in here to print. And so rotate to fit means it's automatically going to recognize whether it's horizontal or vertical type of an image, and rotate the image to fit. So zoom to fill would be zoom to fit the image size that you have selected. So right now my cell size is this picture. So right now this image, if I printed it out, would be printed at 6:9. You can see as I move this, now it's changing. So if I make this 10, my image should get bigger. So right now it would be 10.19 by 6.71. All right. So that is how you change your image. So I could just manually come in here and 9:6, and then it's gonna be 9:6. Print resolution. Most everything today is 300 pixels per inch, but if you have something different like Modern Postcard that uses 355, you could put that in there. Print sharpening. So if you're not sharpening, especially if you're using Canon, you're going to need to sharpen your image. So it has standard, low, and high, and it does it for glossy paper and matte paper. All right, so that's print sharpening. There, it has the ability to be outputted in 16 bits. Most things don't print in 16 bits, so there's not a huge need for that. Color management, which is important. If you do not do this part right, your image is not going to turn out. I'll do a whole video just on printing because it's complicated. But you can either manage color with the printer, which I don't have a printer hooked up to this computer, or you can have like Lightroom manage the thing here. So it's looking for a specific color profile, which I don't have. So you would load some color profiles in here, and then your color management would be done by Lightroom. So if you had a specific paper, you'd load that color profile in and then use that to print from. All right. If you want to then make adjustments on your printer, I don't have a printer driver loaded in here. You would click on this and it would be able to do that there, and then you would hit print and it should print out. The last thing that we have is web. This is really old, okay? Like this is your basic web page back from 10-15 years in the day. This is a lot of simple HTML and then a couple quick ones. So basically you can here's your information here that you can fill out. So you can even use your a mail to address here and fill out this and put your images in, and then you would just either export them and it would save it as an HTML gallery that you could either put on the web or send somebody. There's a couple different versions of this on how they look and how they work. So I truthfully I've never used these, so I don't even know what they look like. But it looks like you can find more galleries online. If you want to build and have a need to build a web page, it's there. All right. So thumbnail size, small is going to make your thumbnails smaller. Large is going to make them bigger. So the border is this little white border here. And thumbnail border, notice it's white. If you wanted to make it a different color, you could easily make it a different color. So anything that you would want to do there. So text color, icons, any of that stuff. So row height, you can control. Show header, don't show header, any of that stuff that you want. So large images, you're adjusting your quality. Obviously, the higher the quality, the faster. The slower it's going to load, the lower the quality, the faster it's going to load. I would suggest if you're going to put images on the web, the best thing out there is JPEG Mini. Just run your images through JPEG Mini first and then put them in here. And I would just do it at full resolution. Sharpening, so there's a screen sharpening method just like before. You have low, standard, and high. You can also put a copyright on there so that you're seeing John Whitehead right there. That was just a generic copyright. So it looks like you can send these directly to a server or your FTP site. So if you do want to do that, you can fill this information out here and send that stuff out. So that's kind of all and everything that Lightroom does. I think most people just edit in print out of this. I don't know how many people create web pages out of it. They're just better ways to do web pages. If people are interested in how, I would really suggest doing a WordPress page. WordPress is far superior. All right, so that is the basics. So next time when we come back, I will have some images here and I will go over the basics of toning. So, and you're going to be surprised because how I adjust color is not how you think. So I will see you next time. Leave any comments or questions below, and thanks for watching.